So should somebody buy a for sale by owner house without a real estate agent? Is it free to have an agent?
It's not free. No, we cost a lot of money. It's not free.
For the buyer?
To have your own agent with a listed property is no additional cost to the buyer. But a for sale by owner, the reason why they're a for sale by owner is because they don't want to pay those annoying commissions. Okay? What I love is the National Association of Realtors has an abundance of data, and sellers that use an agent and pay commission end up with more money in their pocket than for sale by owners that don't, because they just don't know the market. They just don't know the market. They don't know, and they don't know how to negotiate. And I know some sellers will take offense to that. I know how to negotiate, but you need to know.
So I was just thinking.
Right, exactly. But you need to know what the hotbed issues are. So, if somebody says, well, there's standing water in the crawl space, okay, that can be a very expensive repair, and it is a disclosure issue, and it is something that could cost the seller a lot of money. But there are other things where, like, if a neighbor's shed is too close and it's within the setback or whatever, well, an experienced agent knows how to get in a variance for that, either in the homeowners association or through the town or whatever. And so you don't have to move the shed. So but a seller would be like, oh, I need to move the shed to make this happen. There's just things where, so one of the things I love saying about for sale by owners is it's like giving yourself your own haircut. Sometimes you can do that and it works out great. You're like, oh, I cut my own hair, it looks great, But if it goes bad, it goes really bad. And that's how I feel about for sale by owners. But so anyways, just recently, in the last 10 minutes, I had a closing, and this was a woman that found a house on her own. It was a for sale by owner. She negotiated the terms with the seller, and she went over to a bank, and the bank said, yeah, that's great, but we would rather you have an agent through this process because it can be a complicated process. She said, fine, give me an agent. They said, we like Eric Andrews. Worked out great for me. The woman called me. So this is a situation where this buyer has already picked out her property. She's already negotiated the price, but the seller's not going to want to pay me. And so now I'm negotiating up from this price so that I can get compensated. And we negotiated 3%. No, actually 2.5%, because, really all the work, a lot of the work, as far as finding the property had already been done. But come to find out, the seller hadn't done a residential property disclosure statement. The seller hadn't done a mineral rights disclosure. The seller had not provided the homeowners association, the covenants and everything. So there was a lot of information that we got to go over with the potential buyer. The buyer wasn't interested in getting an inspection. We thought that we said, yes, you really do need to get an inspection. We convinced her. In the inspection, several things that came up that the seller was unaware of. They weren't trying to hide anything, but one of them was an HVAC repair, which that alone probably paid my commissions just then and there. If she had done it later, she would have had to pay that money out of pocket. And there were some couple other little things. We got a survey, and sure enough, the neighbor's fence was on the property, so we had to fix that. And then this particular buyer was going through a divorce. She needed mom and dad to co-sign, and there was a lot of back and forth of what needed to be done to adjust the contract, to communicate with the lender and communicate with the lawyer, that I don't think the average buyer could have easily handled. And so we were able to handle all that, negotiate the repairs for her, and allow the closing to happen in a timely manner. So I feel as though in that situation, it may or may not have cost the buyer $3 or $4 grand, but we just had the closing just a short while ago, and that buyer was smiling ear to ear and felt as though we were worth every penny.